Lea DeLaria says Butch lesbians get nonstop abuse from the LGBTQ community. In a recent interview with British website Pink News, Lea DeLaria discussed how her comedy has evolved over the years. She talks about how in the 80s, quote, my room was always filled with dykes and fags. I could talk about our culture to my people and there was nobody doing that, end quote. She also explains after how she was cast as a predatory lesbian in Friends, her role in Orange is the New Black helped change views. She also talks about infighting within the community and how we need to start showing more love to each other. In the interview, she says, quote, I think it's time for us to approach each other within our own community with love. And yes, I get it, it's difficult. I'm a fucking butch dyke. I've looked the way I look my entire fucking life. Do you have any clue what it's like to be who I am within our community? It's nonstop the abuse I get from within my own community. But I still haven't become this person. I still try to approach those people with love in my heart and say, this is what's going on.
You know, absolutely. I have
a lot, huh?
There was a situation that it really angered me. A woman, a lesbian in our community, posted on Facebook about a friend of hers who's beautiful and couldn't understand why she would want to date somebody that, quote, looks like a man, end quote.
And this was from a lesbian.
And this is from a lesbian, and some of you around the table might know her. But I was happy to see that the comments were, how could, you know, what is wrong with
Quick
you?
to put her in check.
What,
Yeah.
you know, what are you saying? That is disgusting. And, you know, but when people say that, that means that under the surface, there are a lot more that think it. And, you know.
Think what? You're agreeing with the fact that she is constantly being abused, but because she's butch?
Well, I've experienced some of it. I mean, you know, some of the more feminine lesbians are like, well, you're not a woman.
You're not feminine enough.
You're not feminine
I get that
enough.
as well.
And you know, and when I had breast cancer, I went through so many more surgeries because I wanted to make sure I had reconstruction. Yeah. Because if I didn't have reconstruction, my chest would be flat. And I'm a woman.
Right.
Yeah.
I may, you know, dress in a certain way. I may present myself in a certain way, but I am 100% woman and 100%
And I think
lesbian.
everyone here is representation of our own femininity and energy. And I'm glad that, Josie, you covered this story, because hearing you, you know, say the story, it was felt differently with passion.
Right.
So that's why I'm glad that you read that story, because now I'm even more open to how she felt. I felt her feelings.
Well, you know, listen, Lea, you know, her and I, we've run into each other a few times through this life. And I'll say this, you know, let's go butch lesbians. Okay? Y'all, you know, you don't have to be like an extinct animal, you know, like starting to endangered animal list, okay? That's not what it's about. And you know what, like, butches like me who flow in and out of my gender identity and
Sexually
you know, have
fluid,
sexually fluid and all that other fun stuff. And you know, really what happens? You just call me daddy and I'm okay with that, okay? So, you know.
But I think we have to support one another in our community.
Absolutely.
Maybe that's the fight that some
Yeah.
women are afraid of. Well, if I don't speak against what I'm not comfortable with, oh, they're gonna get the rights. And I'm going to be left behind.
Yeah.
And that's really part of it when we're really all together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I loved her quote, and then, so it was hard for me kind of to reconcile, you know, her use of the words fag and dyke, and because in some cases it's very triggering. Like the one best friend that I lost as a result of coming out kept calling me dyke.
Oh my God, okay.
You know, and so.
In a derogatory kind of way.
In a derogatory way. But then, you know, you think about it in the context and it makes total sense. And I love the way that she can go back and forth between, you know, saying the F word, dropping the F-bomb over and over again, and then talking about how we need to love each other.
Exactly.
You know, so I think that her viewpoint is valid and we need to listen.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
How about her role on Friends? You know that Friends, you know, it's one of those things that you love to binge watch stuff, right? So like I was just like, oh, let me go back and watch some Friends episodes, and I was trying to look for LGBTQ representation. So of course I Googled, right? And there was like only like 13 times that like any kind of gay representation in all all the years of friends,
course.
Right.
okay?
Yeah.
One of those times was Lea, and she was a predatory lesbian where she was
Yeah.
hitting on everyone in a not so nice way, and that was the representation that we had.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and the only other representation.
Yeah.
in
Lock
that
up your
series
wives, hide your
was-
wives.
Yeah. Hide your wives because the lesbians are coming for them, and don't have a threesome because
safe.
your wife
gonna
will
lose.
marry that woman and you'll be done. So
And,
yeah.
you know, I'm just glad that GLAAD has done so much work.
Yeah.
All right.
And that
Another great
those,
organization.
exactly, those kind of representations
Very
are
good. It
changing a
needs-
little bit.
That is
yeah.
true.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I like that Lea had the guts to speak out and speak her
Absolutely.
truth. Her truth is her truth. You know, at the end of the day, I don't know what it's like to walk around looking butchy or anything like that. I know I get my own kind of weird looks when I say I'm gay, you know, and it's a whole different experience, you know. But she let us into her world and what goes on in her, and
Yeah.
that
Absolutely.
is we're lesbians. We all stick together. So
Let your truth
Thank you.
heal
Yes.
and not do harm.
And she's been
Exactly.
repping this community for a long
Yeah.
time.
Decades.
Out, bold, and proud, and you know, hats off to Lea.
LGBTQ+ news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBT